Hi dears, we were continuing with Unit 2, Section 2, the Blossom Tree, and we have finished half of the lesson and we are about to continue with the page number 40. In page number 40, as you also know where we have stopped, the blossom tree was going to be chopped by the King Brahmadatta and his team to replace the palace. Replace the wooden pillar of the palace. So automatically what happens is the blossom tree spirit is really sad, and the entire world knew about the decision of the king that the other tree spirits have joined together and they reached near the blossom tree in that night. They were trying to suggest a lot of sources. You have to try this way. No, you have to try that way. Many trees had many suggestions, but listening to all these things, the blossom tree knew very well that these ways are not going to be successful. Now, it did not know what to do because for centuries it is living in the same body and it cannot even imagine how to live in some other bodies. So it was really sad. So it listened to the words of all the other tree spirits but could not recognize what to do with. And finally, it was towards the dawn, and just an hour before the dawn, it could hear somebody calling, "Hey, blossom tree." It was just listening around and could recognize that it was Kushagra's. It just leaned down. The spirit of the blossom tree just leaned down to listen to the voice of the little Kushagra's. And in the next morning, as decided, two brothers, they were oxmen also, and they from the city reached near the blossom tree, and before starting to chop the blossom tree, one of them just had a touch of the tree. In a sudden, he said, "This tree is rotten, the part of the tree is rotten." Then the other brother said, "Hey, it will not happen because I have checked myself yesterday. In an overnight, it will not get rotten. It was very strong yesterday." And then he also touched the blossom tree. In a sudden, they both could not believe what is really happening. They touched on different parts of the blossom tree to recognize or identify whether the tree is rotten or not. All the parts of the tree which they touched were soft. Now they recognized that the tree is rotten. They did not know what to do. They ran to the palace because it was a miracle. In an overnight, getting a very big tree, a healthy tree getting rotten was a real miracle. So they did not know what to do, so they ran to the palace to inform this to the king. They went to the palace to see the king keeping his head on his hand, being very sad because he has decided to chop the blossom tree. And when the king realized the fact that the blossom tree has been rotten in an overnight, he was thinking to have some other solution. And in a sudden, he got an idea and he's asked all the builders and carpenters to join and asked them to find out 3 big trees which can be joined together and can replace the pillar. And asked all the builders and carpenters to go on behind this work. Now for the time being, the blossom tree is safe. Now the other tree spirits could not believe what really happened. They joined together and reached the blossom tree and asked what really happened. How did you manage getting rotten in a single night? And even if you are rotten in a single night, you are going to leave your body as early as possible. No, you have to leave your body because your trunk is damaged. Then the blossom tree spirit smiled and said, "Last day night, you all came to me and tried giving suggestions how to save my life. But even you and I knew very well that those were not the sources to save my life. But after all of you have gone, the little Kushagra spirit came to me. And it suggested me one way. As the suggestion, the little chameleons, it were in number thousands. They came to me and they covered my trunk, my body. The little chameleons are very soft, as you know. So when the oxmen touched my body, they were not touching my trunk, but they were touching the chameleons. As their body is very soft, the woodcutters felt that I am rotten. I am not really rotten, but I am as strong as ever. I am very strong. And then it looked at the big, magnificent trees and then said one more thing. Now I realized one thing very strongly. What is it? When we are choosing a friend, we must not think whether the friend is magnificent, powerful, energetic, or something like that, but instead, whether that friend will stand with us, whether that friend has love to us, whether that friend will care for us when we need it really. Hope you understood this beautiful story. It's time for me to wind up. Thank you. Have a nice day.